Bengals win in overtime. Huge win for Cincinnati here to get to 8-6, joining the Browns with 8 wins in the AFC wildcard picture.
Wow, guys, my heart is beating really fast right now. That was an absolutely crazy game. The Bengals are now 8-6, and they've been struggling in division games, so this was a big W. In this video, I'm going to be talking all about the overtime win against the Vikings and also about Jake Browning because he is really starting to become quite the story this season. But before I begin, I would really appreciate it if you would drop a like and subscribe. It only takes 5 seconds, plus you can always change your mind, and your support truly does mean the world. Alright. So Jake Browning wowed Cincinnati fans by helping lead the team to 24 points over the fourth quarter and overtime in a thrilling 27-24 comeback win over the Vikings. Amid his great performance, the signal caller got an interesting text from the league. On his Instagram story, Browning posted a screenshot of a text message that appeared to be from someone from the NFL that told him he was due for a steroid test. But the timing of this message came after the Bengals were down 17-3 going into the fourth quarter, with their playoff hopes potentially dwindling with every second. But in a quick turnaround, Browning led 3 fourth quarter touchdown drives, throwing for 2 to tie the game at 24-24 with 39 seconds left and sending things into OT. In the extra session, Browning found receiver Tyler Boyd on 3rd and 9 for a 44-yard gain that set up kicker Evan McPherson for the game-winning field goal. As I said, the Bengals improved to 8-6, putting them back into the AFC playoff picture and in the 6th spot of the conference. As for his personal stat line, Browning was 29 for 42 with 324 yards and had 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. This victory meant a lot to Browning, who revealed in the post-game press conference that getting cut from the Vikings in 2021 was the worst one that he's experienced in his career. Signing as an undrafted free agent, Browning was on the Vikings practice squad in 2019 and 2020 before being cut in 21. I think right after we made the field goal to win the game, I screamed at the camera and said, "They should have never cut me," Browning told reporters. I just love the passion that this guy plays with, and he just wills things to happen. I'm not going to start comparing him to Joe Burrow, because Burrow is on a different level, but honestly, with the way he's been playing as of late, it hasn't been that far off, and they both got the initials JB, so there really are some similarities. Jamar Chase and defensive tackle DJ Reader both left the game with injuries of varying severity, which definitely isn't good to see. But Cincinnati was able to rally from 2 deficits in the fourth quarter and make big plays to win its 3rd straight game. "It took everybody," said Zach Taylor after the game. "We found a way to regain momentum in the fourth quarter. That was as hard fought of a game as I've ever been a part of in my entire life. And our guys found a way at the end." Taylor did not have additional information on Chase after the game. He was initially ruled questionable before he was eventually downgraded to out in overtime. He finished the game with 4 catches for 64 yards. He appeared to favor his right shoulder after he made a 24-yard catch to extend a drive early in the fourth. He came to the sideline for a moment before he returned to the game. After a 4-yard completion from Browning to Joe Mixon with more than 3 minutes left in regulation, he then exited. With Chase out, Cincinnati leaned on T. Higgins, who had 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, including an improbable 21-yard touchdown with 39 seconds left in regulation that helped tie things at 24, all ahead of overtime. Higgins scored 2 of the 3 touchdown passes in the fourth quarter as the Bengals offense found a spark. Browning threw for as many yards in the fourth as he did in the previous 3 quarters combined, which is pretty insane. Rookie defensive back DJ Ivey was also knocked out of the game with a left knee injury. The 7th round pick was injured in the second quarter while trying to make a tackle on a punt return. Anyways, as for the Vikings, Mullins completed 26 of 33 passes, 2 of which went for touchdowns to rookie receiver Jordan Addison. He also threw 2 interceptions that both came in the second quarter, and a 3rd later in the game that was reversed because of a penalty. But after making Mullins his 4th different starter in a 7-game stretch, O'Connell did not sound eager to shuffle his lineup again. Anyways, going back to what I was talking about earlier with T. Higgins, he can make any single catch, and he was just unbelievable in this game. I mean, T's dealt with injuries the entire year and the past couple of seasons, and he just hasn't been able to stay on the field. And of course, in this game, he was the hero for Cincy. So shout out to T Man, love this guy. And Tyler Boyd had that 44-yard catch. I mean, that's not going to get talked about enough. The fact that Browning was able to escape, buy time for Boyd to get open, and then when Boyd caught it, he probably thought he was going to get hit right away. But then he was sort of able to slither through and pick up a huge gain. Also, Tanner Hudson has been an unsung hero for this team as well. Much like Chase Brown, remember, Hudson was on the practice squad, and Bengals fans were calling for him to end up being the starter because the Bengals had the worst tight end play in football. Of course, they lost their starter to the Panthers, so they've been trying to just get production at that position. Like, Irv Smith just wasn't getting it done, and Tanner Hudson's just stepped up big time. And then yeah, outside of that, the defense overall, it had its moments. I mean, it did give up a couple of big plays, but the bottom line is, Pratt had 12 tackles, should have had a pick 6 as well, but Trey Henderson was lined up off sides. Henderson did have a big sack, and now he's got over 15 on the year, which is a career best for him. And I think the thing for the Bengals is that they are just going out there and making plays. Like against the Colts last week, they held them to 0 points in the second half. And against the Jags, that game was more of a shootout, but they did make the plays that they had to. And also, Hendrickson's been great all year. Sam Hubbard's been great all year, and BJ Hill had his second straight game with an interception. And then Daxton Hill, I like him. He was a first round pick last year, of course. And there's just a lot of young players on this Bengals defense. But I think going into the rest of the season, the Bengals are in a great spot because they just continue to be resilient. I mean, they'll go down by 20, then they'll come back and beat you by 3. Like, it really doesn't matter. They're just finding ways to win. And it's crazy because they did lose to the Steelers by 6 points back on November 26th, which was Browning's first start of the season. And they were in that game. That was just the Steelers' best offensive performance of the year, and they still lost by only 6. So against the Steelers next week on the road, I mean, that's just going to be sort of a revenge payback type of game. But to be 8-6 in the AFC based on their circumstances is pretty insane, to be honest. That's really all I have to say for this video. Thank you all so much if you made it to this point, and if you enjoyed and haven't yet, make sure to like and subscribe because your support truly means the world. Also, with the playoff race starting to heat up, there is just so much to talk about across the league, so let me know what you would like to see next. And until then, I will see you all later.